Alright, welcome back. We are going to be continuing on with linear equations today once again. Like I said before, we could spend a whole bunch of time on linear equations because it's just so rich with knowledge in terms of the types of math that we see with it and how it repeats over and over again. But today we're going to be looking at building linear equations. We looked at how to graph a line last time, and two special cases, the horizontal and vertical line, in which case building those equations are relatively easy. But today we're going to be building a linear equation given some specific details about the line in question. And the form we're going to start out with is the y equals mx plus b form of a line, which again, if you remember, m is the slope of the line, and this b value at the end is the y-intercept. It's where it crosses the y-axis. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and build some equations by looking at a couple examples. And let's say we're going to ask to build an equation of a line that has a slope given to us as 1/4, and it goes through the point 8, -3. So those are the details of the line, slope, and then it gives us a specific point. Notice this 8, -3 isn't the y-intercept straight away. The way we can tell is that this x value is not equal to 0. So again, if it's not equal to 0, that means it's not the y-intercept, it's just a point that sits upon the line. So we simply can't just plug in two numbers into the mx plus b form of the line to get our answer. We're going to take a little bit of algebra to make this happen for us. So here we go. I know that the slope is 1/4, so I can say, well, y must be equal to 1/4 x plus some b value or some y-intercept. So I know the slope of mx plus b, so I plug in the 1/4. The next part comes here. I need to find this y-intercept value. And the way I find that is I'm going to use this other piece of information given to us. This is an x comma y point that sits upon the line. So any point that sits upon a line means that it must satisfy its equation. What that means to us is that if I plug in the 8 and I plug in the -3 into this equation, it will work in that equation. So I will substitute in -3 for y equals 1/4. I'm going to substitute 8 for x's, and then plus b. So I'll plug in my x and the y value. Then my job is to find out what this b value is by doing the arithmetic of the remaining of the problem. So here we go. We have -3 is equal to, this is some side math here. If you have to, write it on the side in order to calculate what 1/4 times 8 is. Remember, 8 is really 8 over 1. And then if I look at this, looks like I can cancel the 4, can go into 8 2 times, so I'll get 2. So this becomes 2 plus b. And then I'm going to solve this for b by subtracting 2 from both sides. We're going to get the b by itself. So if I subtract b from both sides, that's going to leave me -3. Subtract 2 gives me -5. Remember your integer work. 2 minus 2 cancels out, is equal to b. So the b value is -5. So that means I can substitute that in for b here, and I'll have my equation y is equal to 1/4 x minus 5. Remember, b is -5, so plus -5 really is the same thing as subtract 5. It's a cleaner way to write that. We don't ever want to write plus -5, even though mathematically it is correct. It's just not good form. So there's our solution. Plug in the slope, plug in the given y value, x and y value, and then find the equation of the line. All right. That's a relatively simple one, in that you just have to plug in and crank out values. It can get a little bit more challenging, where they again will ask us to build the equation of the line that goes through 9, -2, and 3, 4. So those are our 2 points, and our job is to find the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. So our first job is always to find slope. Find m. So the last problem we were given the slope. In this problem we're going to have to calculate the slope. So again, the way we calculate slope, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that means we can do 4 minus a negative 2, and then 3 minus 9. And again, good practice for your integer work. You got to get really good at integer work here in algebra. 4 subtract negative 2 makes that 4 plus 2, or 6. 3 minus a 9 gives us a negative 6. So 6 divided by negative 6 gives us negative 1 as the slope of the line. And then from there, I can say, well, y is equal to negative x plus b. mx plus b, so again, m is negative 1. We simply write it this way. And then from there, I've got to find the b value now in order to complete the equation of the line. And I have 2 points to pick from. I can use any two of these 2 points, either the first one or the second one, to plug in for x and y. I always pick the one that doesn't have negative values in it, so I don't have to get screwed up with negative signs. So I'm going to choose 3, 4, which means y is 4 equals negative x is 3 plus b. Then we're going to add 3 to both sides to get to our b value. So 4 plus 3 gives us 7. Negative 3 plus 3 cancels out, which we want to have happen. And then b is equal to 7. So my final answer for the equation of the line that goes to this point and this point here is y is equal to negative x plus 7. And there is my solution. And we're going to break here so that I can break up the recording into 2 parts. Blah, 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 because you only can post a 15-minute video on YouTube. So I got to wait and edit so we have part 1, part 2.